Uh, okay, I am showing just a little bit, a fraction here of some newer ducks, and the older ducks. The ones. Show you a fraction of it up on the wall. Some of the other characters and stuff. So yeah. So while we're in production hiatus on the set, that hiatus ends shortly with production on the starships. All the pieces have arrived. We're waiting for the pieces to arrive. Assemble the starships for the not the ducks, but the other story. So this is not an update on the starships because I'll build them first. I'm not going to do a thing on building starships. Other people do that. Build this ship, and then I'll show you the finished ships. There's no point in showing a build. But I wanted to chime in. That was on the Starship locations. This is just an update on the Duck World thing, or whatever that was. I decided that since there was a hiatus, the house is being painted. There was a house next door was being fumigated. It had nothing to do with us, but it's like all this other stuff. Noise was going on, so I decided that I would just update all of my Star Trek ducks that I'd done earlier in the 2015 period, and at least updating them as far as Star Trek Discovery, Lower Decks, Prodigy, and Strange New Worlds. I ignored the Abrams movies because they kind of looked a little like the Abrams movies anyway, so I didn't need to. I found that when I used the template for the Duckmen, that it looked less like it was just the same duck over and over again, even though it kind of was the same duck over again. They tend to have more chins, which is kind of weird. A duck wouldn't really have a chin, but they kind of have chins. They look a little like the characters from that they're depicting. It's a toss-up because the earlier Disney style ones, some of them look great. There's some hilarious stuff going. Some of them do not. But yes. They're not meant to be anything. I was just messing around and wanted to see if I could still draw the Duckman. That's all. Yeah. So that's all. That's all it was. Yeah, I could. Oh, there. The Duckman. The Quacking Duckman. Which is a reference to a movie you won't see because that's another movie entirely, and to do with deaf people at all. Really. Nothing to do with that. I don't know that. But yeah, so it's not that there was a moratorium on showing you these drawings because they're not. They're stuff I drew in the tradition of the other stuff, but there was no. Yeah, I don't know if the other video was that clear on that. Yeah, they were not being submitted as art to Disney. Yeah, that was not happening. No, I just did it in the Disney style. Yeah. No, yeah. Obviously, Disney did. Back then was not accepting. It still isn't. Fan submissions from people in the park. They don't even want people in the park to come in dressed in a costume. They want to have their own costume people. They don't allow that. So if you go to the Star Wars land, wearing a Star Trek thing, the Star Wars thing, they will say, no, don't do that. They'll kick you out. So they have all that. They don't accept submissions, and I don't know if anybody was complaining about that. I should submit to this Calcat guy. He probably knows. No. I don't have an in there at all. If I did, that existed in 2015 and not anymore. But I don't. In the middle of the heyday of the Marvel stuff. But yeah, nothing now. So yeah, there's no. I just updated some characters. Although strangely enough, that one there's one over there from Prodigy. It looks like Condorito, which is funny. There's a few interesting weird. Perhaps I should just show you some of them real brief. Okay. Well, I probably can identify some of them. I drew them, but can I identify them? So is that Dal as Condorito there? And Pog? Okay. Yeah. To do something different with the Medusan, just because Janeway. Okay. And of course, yeah, the Dal and Gwen. I really do like this. I think that's Paris, but he looks like something out of a Disney thing. He's not. That looks like one of them too. Yeah, so there's a few of these that are kind of cool. Especially like the Visor Duck or LaForge Duck, who is the I believe he's, and then Spock Duck, Kirk Duck. So you have Odo and Quark Duck, which just looks weird. Also, we have with the cast of Lower Decks, you have a duck that is supposed to be a cat duck, which I thought was really weird. There's a cat duck doctor. Just an odd idea, very strange. The Picard show has some extras added. You have the Visor Duck update of Visor Duck, who's over there. So here's him over here, Visor Duck, and there's him as an old duck over there. So anyway, so yeah, you have others. You have Giorgio and the cast over there from Discovery. Who have Chaplain, Balana Duck, Klingon Duck, and People Duck, and Ensign Mount Duck. Yeah, newer one there. That's pretty funny. His hair is all. He's got a bigger pompadour than the ladies do. Yeah, I just thought to show off the little duck stuff that I drew up, and I don't intend to produce in any quantity. I don't intend to do anything with them other than I made them. So yeah, it is not. Yes, so this is not a cartoon. It's not a series. It's just what would amount to be headshots in groups on paper that have been shrunk down so that a bunch of the crew would be on paper. I'm not going to do the crew thing like I did the girls there. I'm not going to do that with the ducks. That's what was the intent. I only took it as far as, okay, headshots on paper, and stopped. Said that's really all you need. You're not going to. No, don't go any further with the crew. There's no duck show. There's no point in doing that. So that's all it was, just for fun. Star Trek ducks. Thought it'd be funny to see about the ducks. Okay. But yeah, no, that's pretty much it. Yeah, finished it, so I just thought I would update on that. Going back to Canary Space and Vanguards shortly. Making the ships. Not going to make them as big as the Legacy, which was huge. Giant ship. Yeah, the ship scales is really weird on those. Yeah, that one was quite large. So yeah, we can use the ship if we don't show the set as the mothership in the story. If we don't show the titles on the hull. So yeah, so not redressing them or anything and repainting them as something else. Just nothing like that. Yeah, you're kind of limited with your budget. You kind of have a certain thing to show. So the duck thing was free. There was nothing, well, it wasn't free in the sense that printer ink is expensive. But other than that, these duck concepts that are interesting. But yeah, the earlier ones were definitely more playful and Disney-like, and these ones are more sort of your edgy remake kind of thing, like harkening back to the 90s, whereas the other ones harken back to the 80s. So makes sense. Anyway, I think they're quackers at this point. Yeah. Another thing that screwed it up back in the day is it didn't really directly screw up anything. There wasn't going to be a show. There wasn't going to be a comic book. I was just making duck track pictures. It'd be funny. There were a lot of other ones. There was a cat one that I mentioned. There were other goofy things that led to Lower Decks, basically. That happened later. But they're actually very similar to the Lower. It's funny. The Lower Decks duck people look more realistic than the Lower Decks people on the show because it's a cartoon. I think that's kind of funny. But yeah, the so yeah, you have this and their bills are a bit weird, but I'm not changing it. Yeah. Yeah, it's an odd little thing with ducks. It's brief, thing, goofy. It's not going to become anything. This is well, it is my art, but it's not going to become anything. I'm not going to sell Trek duck prints somewhere. That would be silly. How would I do that? Because it's Star Trek, but it's parody, and it's not technically. Yeah, how would that work? No. Duck art, no. Yeah, because it's in the style of the other two shows, so. Couldn't, because it's considered not quite transitive but a copy. So no, you can't. You can't do that. Also the discussion of the allegedly pitching to the Star Trek was a joke on the other guy, the other guy who claimed he was at Paramount pitching the same day, the same weekend that we were there at Disneyland. Yeah, and other people were over there at Paramount, and they saw him at the gate, but didn't see him go in. Didn't let him in. Come on. He's an unknown. They're not going in. But yeah, the old Star Trek story before Beyond. But that's neither here nor there. So we were not pitching. We were being loud and boisterous and excited in the park at Disneyland. And of course there are people there, and they overheard the radical idea and stuff, including one of them that said, "Okay, a prince that finds this prince, it's 2015. We don't want to do that yet." They said it's too much. They don't want to do that yet. Or a princess that finds a princess, it's 2015. No, not yet. Later on. The world isn't ready for that yet. It was later on. Just to throw a monkey wrench into the story. Yeah, there was not going to be a duck adventure story. DuckTales 2017 was the later one, I guess. Different animations. Tried to be more like the comics than the 87 cartoon was. They succeeded a little bit. I haven't seen it too much. The classic one is a classic, but came out at the same time as Ninja Turtles, in 87. And the G.I. Joe the movie, same year as all that. A little after Transformers the movie, by about a year. The live action, the animation. Yeah, 2017, yeah. They've also done a Muppet Babies remake. They've done some other ones. Rugrats remake, why? But yeah, this is not a cartoon, obviously, because we can't animate a cartoon. We can make maniquettes, I guess, but no, not doing that. No. Not suddenly to dress up Star Trek people as ducks and everyone. No, we're not doing that. Not doing that. That would be ludicrous. Another thing though, what I was trying to get to is Duck Dynasty. That annoying right-wing duck show by those three super rich guys pretending they're hicks who are hanging around. They own duck stuff, but they're like millionaires. Yeah, they're not running a duck shop. They're millionaires. They were all the rage back then. So there could not be a show they would have said, "Oh, like Duck Dynasty." No, not at all. Sort of like when Mark's card to John was like, he had a Twilight short story when Twilight came out, having nothing to do with Twilight, but it used the title. I immediately thought, oh, like the vampire thing. Team Edward, Team Jacob. No, I couldn't convince him otherwise. No. So it just came out of the wrong time. There wouldn't have been anything anyway. It would have been like, what? I just wanted to rescue the artwork from obscurity and add to it, and finish the installation, the art installation that I did, in deference to the legends who done the duck stuff. For some reason, I can't remember who that is. So who am I referring to? Because when I looked it up, the guy who did Scrooge McDuck and DuckTales are two different people. And the guy that did the comic books were two different people. And the guy that did the comic books don't talk to the Disney ones. So, oh well. Anyway, yeah, they weren't going to talk to me. I met the guy that did the comic book. The old guy. Yeah. I'm going to look that up right now. Just so I get the name right. At a convention. Creator of the DuckTales comic. Carl Barks. Carl Barks, I guess. But the Disney one was developed by Gene McGon and Ted Abney, Patsy Cameron, Jim Magon, Ted and Zadie and Patsy Cameron, Disney guys. DuckTales comics, but then there was later ones. So yeah, a guy named Barks. Carl Barks. But maybe kind of the... Yeah. That's what I got. But then there's a Brendan Monclair from the other one. Yeah, it's kind of confusing as to what... But Jim Magon made the 87 show. Different guy. Anyway, so, yeah. Yeah, and actually looking at flipping through the silly internet thing there, it's kind of hard to tell, works. Kind of hard to tell what exactly I was doing, because it doesn't look like that. It's not that close. Anyway.